What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, previews and vlogs. Thanks for coming back. All right, so today's video, we're gonna be installing another accessory in the wife's car. Now, I know I said I wasn't gonna do any more accessories. The kick plates were gonna be the last accessories, but she needs to see the picture again of the illuminated entry, which is the courtesy lighting, whatever you want to call it. It's basically the light that lights up at the bottom of the vehicle when you unlock the door. So when you approach the car or you hit the unlock button or anything like that, the floor lights up at the bottom. Of course, it's kind of like you can say it's a safety thing in a way if you want. It kind of illuminates the floor more. To me, it's more aesthetics than anything else. But either way, so basically we're going to be installing those now. This is going to be a little bit different because it does use the accessory harness that I showed you on the previous video when they did the kick plates. Thing is that if she would have told me she wanted both of these at the same time, I could have had all the connections done at the same time. Now I have, of course, the posse taps tapping the accessory harness for the kick plates, and I'm not trying to remove the kick plates out of there or do any disconnect anything. So we're going to be working with everything connected to the car, meaning the accessory harness, pretty much. So, and this one is kind of a little bit different as well. It uses a lot more of those wires that were on that we left kind of just sitting there in the accessory harnesses. So we're going to be using a lot more of those cables or those wires on there to connect these kick plates. Now, this is an install without the running boards. My wife doesn't have the running boards. I showed her the running boards and made sure she didn't want them. She doesn't. For me, honestly, my honest opinion, running boards on these cars are kind of useless. There's only about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches, I think, of actual running board, and we're not short or anything like that. And I mean, for kids, maybe it's a little bit better for them to get in the car, but honestly, to me it's not that high off the ground anyways to be using running boards on this car, and they don't do anything to me. In my opinion, they're worthless on this car. But again, that's only my opinion. But we're gonna be installing these without the running boards. The difference in accessories is you have different clips and different actual brackets to connect the lights with the running boards than without the running boards. There's a little different brackets. That's the only difference. Other than that, the wiring and running the lighting is pretty much very similar to it. So before we keep going here, I'm going to go ahead and show you what comes in the package when you get this. I will have the part number description down below, so you guys check that out. It is only through Nissan you get this. You could do your own, actually, and you can honestly do your own aftermarket accessories if you wanted to, if you don't want to pay the Nissan pricing. I'm going to go with the Nissan stuff because it's just easier to connect with everything, and it's all kind of plug and play in a way. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what comes in the box. And again, normally I go to my desk and I show you everything laid out. These are kind of big and long, and so I have to kind of show you out of the box. So let's go ahead and take a look at what comes in the actual box. All right, so first thing you have on the box is, of course, the actual lights. These are the light bars. They do have 3M tape adhesive in the back. Again, they're pretty long. And of course, the wiring. Each bar has its own wiring. Black and red cables, so power and ground cables. And then you got your accessories, or I should say your kit to install everything. Basically, you have your posi taps and some rubber grommets that we're going to be using. All the clips that clip onto the body of the car and hold on to the light in its place. A control module. And here's all the wires we're going to be using. Pretty much self-explanatory: pink, black, gray, yellow, and white. All hooked up to the same ones on the accessory. A plastic wire loom. This is basically just to cover up whatever wire is left underneath the car, just so it doesn't get any moisture in it. Zip ties, like I don't have enough already. And a bunch of these little, if you guys have done accessories before, foam tape. That's pretty much it. There is some rubbing alcohol cleaners in there and stuff like that. I don't need them. We'll be using our own. All right, so just so you guys know, basically I've already removed the plastic kick panel from here. I've accessed the accessory connector. Now it's right here on the floor, of course, all in one piece. Now, if you guys want to know how to access these, check out my last 2 videos on this vehicle. I'll put the link in the descriptions below. Just again, it shows you how to access the connector. It shows you where you get the connectors, but all part numbers and all accessories you're going to need are going to be in the description below. Now, I don't want to go ahead and take this tape off and unplug the connector and go through all that whole entire process. So I'm going to be doing it while it's hooked up to the car. And all it is basically you're using posi taps to connect to everything. All the posi tabs are going to connect to all the way. We're going to be using the same wires that are on here that are already tapped into for the kick panel. So we're going to tap into those wires again. 2 of those, at least the pink and the yellow. And then, of course, there's other wires that we're going to tap into. And then we're going to install, I'm going to show you how to take off the little plugs at the bottom of the vehicle. And we're going to run, basically, those are where the brackets go in to hold onto the lights. And we'll go from there. But this is a pretty straightforward install, not very hard, just a little bit more wiring. And well, just a few minutes of your time and you should be all good. First, let's see what tools we'll be using. We're going to need a T20 Torx screw, either a screw or a driver. Some kind of pick. We'll also need a pry tool. Zip ties. Some kind of cutters, either cutters or scissors. Measuring tape. Rubbing alcohol. And a microfiber towel. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our pick. We're going to locate these little plugs underneath the body of the car. You're going to remove 4 of them on each side. Now there's 7 of them total. You're going to remove 1, 2, 4, and 6 on each side. So if there's 7 of them, just count them and then remove 1, 2, 4, and 6. Once you're done with that, go ahead and take your rubbing alcohol and the microfiber towel and clean the entire area. This is where the light's going to be mounted to. So make sure it's good and clean and there's no dirt or anything on there. Once we are done with that, go ahead and go back up and basically pull this wiring harness up. Now they're connected by actual clips onto the body of the car, so it should just pop right up. And you're doing this to expose the small little foam tape that's on there that's covering the hole that we're going to need to access to run the wiring. So before we install the clips at the bottom of the car, we already cleaned it. We removed the old little plugs in there. And now we're going to install the clips. Now you're going to install the clips. You're going to leave the hole number 1 alone because that's where your wiring is going to go through for the lights. We're going to install the clips starting from 2, 4, and of course the last one, which is 6. That's where the clips are going to go. So 3 clips on each side. Before you install the clips, I'm going to show you how these clips actually work. So here's your clip right there. Now this part right here, the shorter part or the part with this tab, not the part with the hole, is going to go towards the outside of the car. So this is going to face the outside of the car. So and hence my car is facing this way. So if I was to install it on my passenger side, this clip would go in that direction. Just like that. The reason for that is because this other piece right here is going to go over the clip. So once this clip is onto the body, the light goes inside of here, basically clips onto there. And then this piece goes just like that and then tightens up this way and basically clamps down the light just like that. Now, and then of course there's a screw in the back of it, which you'll tighten down as a T20 screw. Now, really quick, to put these in, if you are having any issues, first thing you want to do is basically tighten down this screw. Now again, these are T20 screws, so you're going to tighten down the screw basically till it hits this small little tab right there. That'll keep this wing from spinning. Because when you put this in the body, you're going to put this wing part through the hole, and you try to tighten it, all it's going to do is spin in place because there's nothing to hold on to. I don't know why Nissan didn't just go ahead and make these clips and make this as tall as a screw. That would have been easier. But what you're going to end up doing here is you're going to hold on to this. You can do this with a hand tool, which would be easier and safer. So I'm doing it with a driver here. But you tighten it down pretty much almost till it gets to, now that's too much. I went too far there. We're going to go just enough to basically be able to clear the body of the car, but also hit this metal tab. Just like that. So when you insert this into the hole, it already hits that tab, and all you gotta do is tighten it down. So I'll show you how to install these right now. Okay, so once you insert the little clip in, you're gonna kind of want to hold it with one hand. So I'm blocking the camera here to try to screw this in. Now, these can become a little bit of a pain because sometimes if you're tightening them down, they kind of just try to turn on you. So you want to try to hold it with one hand as you turn the screw. Once you feel it getting tight and you feel that the clip kind of hits, or that little butterfly insert hits up to the top there, go ahead and just keep tightening it all the way. Now this one right here, you can see it kind of struggle a little bit with it. It kind of just fumble around with it for a while, but
Again, patience and just take your time with it. You'll get them, they'll tighten up, and then they'll be good to go.
So now that we got the clips installed, we got to run pretty much the wiring. Now, first of all, we have to run from the wiring from the outside in of the car. Remember that. Now, you guys, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be taking 2 pieces of zip tie and tying them together just at the very ends. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert it down the small hole. Now, inside of the hole, you don't want to go straight in. You want to go kind of on an angle, and you want to kind of go an angle outwards. So basically towards you, to the outside of the car. Because inside of this panel, or inside of the body of the car, there is small little holes in there, little ports. And it's separated by like a wall. So if you think about it, kind of like if a wall was between two in a building and you had just windows in there. I got a kind of a picture here to show you what it looks like. I don't see if you guys see it right. But you got to run pretty much make sure that the zip tie is running towards you or towards the outside of the car, and then keep pushing it down and you'll be able to, of course, to get it. If you go straight in, you're not gonna get it, and you're gonna be on the opposite side and you won't be able to actually get it, and you're actually gonna get it through one of the other holes, which is basically a drain hole for any water or anything like that, which you don't wanna go through that hole. So now that we got that wiring ran, or actually the zip tie ran through, we're gonna go ahead and install a light bar now. I'm gonna show you guys how these clips and all this stuff is gonna work here, especially with the grommets and everything you gotta run on the outside of the car. Again, this is the little tedious part that takes the longest. Once we get in the car, it's a lot of just matching cables and wires and hooking everything up and putting everything back together. But this is the part where it gets kind of tedious and stuff, so just make sure you take your time and be patient with the whole thing. After that, I'm gonna be taking these little rubber clips here, or rubber grommets I should say, this one and this tiny one, and then of course you have this plastic insulator, if you want to call it. What we're gonna do here, this plastic insulator is gonna be cut to about 3.5 inches, what you're gonna need out of this, okay? You're gonna take the wiring and you're gonna run it inside of here. This insulator goes in here. The wire for the light comes out through here. This piece pops in where the little grommet we took out, a number 1 grommet, that goes in there. This is gonna keep any water or any moisture from coming in the car and keeping, of course, the wire protected. We're gonna run the wire upside of the car, basically do the same thing I did. If you do use a hanger or whatever you use to run the wire, I'm using a zip tie. I'm gonna pull the wire on the inside of the car. Once you get that in, you're gonna put it through here, and this is gonna cover the little hole where we removed the little tape from. That is gonna be it. That is pretty much the install of the lights. Then we're gonna, of course, be putting in the connectors. We're gonna be connecting the lights, and that's actually the easier part. Putting those clips and everything else was the pain in the butt part. But anyways, let's go ahead and get going with this. Again, wire is gonna go through here, come out in here. This is gonna be on the outside of the car, and then it's gonna come out on the inside, and you're gonna run the wire through that little hole, and this is gonna cover and go insert into the small hole on the inside part of the car. So let's go ahead and get this started.
So let's go ahead and grab your light bar. Now you should have cut that tubing already to about 3.5 inches, like I said earlier. Go ahead and run the wiring through the tubing. Once you get to the very end of the light, go ahead and just zip tie it through the very end. There's an actual little place right to put the tubing on, and zip tie everything. Go ahead and cut any excess zip tie with the cutters or scissors. Then you're going to take the L-shaped tube or rubber grommet, and you're going to run the light through that as well. Same thing, once you get to the tubing, it inserts right into the rubber grommet, and zip tie that end as well. Cut any excess zip tie off of there. This is what it should look like once you're done with it. To mount the light bar, what you want to do here is make sure that the little hole that's inside where we ran the zip tie through, where the wiring is going to come out through, is actually even with the beginning part of the light bar, or basically where the wiring meets the light bar. So what I did is I marked it with some electrical tape, just kind of give me a location of where it's going to go. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that these lights do have markings, right hand side and left hand side. Of course, it tells you which way or where the light goes, so you can't mess that up. Alright, to mount the light on, again, make sure that everything is, you're mounting this light properly right where it's supposed to go on. Because once the 3M tape sticks to this, it is not going to come off, or it's going to be very difficult to get it off. So once you got the light in its proper position, go ahead and just press on it, and of course the clips, you'll just hear them clip onto the light, and the 3M tape will stick on there. Apply some pressure to it for about 10 seconds before you let it go. Even though the clips are still holding onto the light will not fall. Once that is done, go ahead and just take the other part of the clips, which is the bottom part of the clips that you have left, and you're gonna basically just grab and insert the small little tab into the clip and then tighten it down with your T20 Torx, and that'll be it. The light is now secure. Next step is just basically to run the wiring through the hole. So go ahead and take the end of the wires from the light and tape it up with the end of the zip tie. Once you get a proper and secure connection here, go ahead and pull the zip tie through. This will pull the wiring through. Make sure, again, this is nice and tight so you don't lose the wiring inside of the body of the car. Once the wiring is all the way pulled through, take the L-shaped grommet that goes at the bottom of the vehicle and go ahead and just secure it in place. Make sure it's nice and snug and there's a tight seal down there. Once that is done, go ahead and take the small little rubber grommet or seal and go ahead and run it through the wiring and plug up the small hole that's on the top.
Okay, so now we have the light is all installed. We're done with that part of it. Now what we gotta do is make our connections. The wiring is ran properly. We have everything set. Just the connections now. Well, this is the easier part. And of course, where to put the control unit. Now, I'm gonna be putting it on the passenger side for the simple fact that there is more room. If you go to the driver's side, there's a lot more wiring. There is the fuse boxes on that side. It's more of a pain to try to put it somewhere in there. Your passenger side has a lot more room, a lot more opening where you can actually tape this too, because it's got a 3M tape on the back that comes with the package. You got to put that in there, tape that to the back of there, and it's gonna go behind the actual plastic panel. So this is gonna have a lot more room on the passenger side. That's why I'm installing it. Now, of course, we're gonna be doing a post tab again, meaning they're gonna be using the little post this Nissan sends you, okay? And we're gonna be tapping these into the current wires for the accessory harness. Here's one thing. My car has already got accessories hooked up to it. There's already post tabs on this because I got of course, the pass-through lighting. We got the kick panels that I did. So there's already stuff hooked up to it. Now, I'm gonna keep post tapping this whole thing, and of course, I'm gonna wrap it up, make it all nice and neat. If you got a brand new accessory kit, of course, do it while it's mine's all connected, and again, it's all taped up. So I'm not gonna be taking the tape off to disconnect it and go through the whole process. I could actually do it while it's connected. For most people, what I suggest, if this is the only accessory you are doing and you have done any of the other accessories yet, or I would suggest just doing it off the car, of course. Make sure that the accessory connector is out. It's a lot easier while you can set it up on a table, sit in the kitchen table, do all this post tapping, and you're good to go. And now you guys bring it over and plug it in, and we're done. So, but again, my scenario, completely different. Now, another thing is also, we've already tapped into two of the wires we're gonna be using. The pink and the yellow wire are basically the taps for the wires that are used for the kick panels. So we're going to be doing another tap on that same wiring, and then of course we're going to be using gray, white, and black. Now before I continue with this, I'm going to show you guys exactly what these post taps are. I've showed you guys in other videos how to do it, but not really got into depth with these little things. These are actually very simple little things to tap into wiring. There's two sides to it, a gray side and a red side. The red side is for whatever you're connecting to the accessory connector. So in this case, the module for the lights, we're going to be connecting that to the accessory connector. The gray side has two different things to it. It's got a little tip in it, if you guys could see, I don't know if you guys could see in the video there, but it's got like a little, basically, it looks just like a pin. It's very sharp, And then of course the other side has like a little slit on the cap of it. What happens in here is the wire for the accessory connector that's gonna be hooking up to your car slides inwards right inside the middle, just like so. This tightens down over it, and you just screw it on, and of course it taps the wire. I gotta do it to this because we don't need to tap this. We're tapping the accessory connector. The other end of this, which is the red side, also comes off just like that. And what this side does is basically gonna take your accessory, the wiring, and see how it already comes pre-cut. You got the little, you're gonna take this little tip off, and you're gonna put this part inside. Of course, there's gonna be exposed wires there. And then you wanna fan them out. Kind of open them up like hands or fingers or whatever. And when you're putting it in and you tighten it down and you screw it in, they kind of wrap around the inside of that, and of course that is tapping into the wire. It's that simple. They're not very difficult to understand, very easy. So now we're gonna go ahead and get this installed. I'm gonna do it, of course, you're gonna see me install it, but I'm not gonna explain everything. Again, we're just matching the colors here, and then you're taking the actual wires, or the red and the black wiring from the lights, and connecting to the red and black into the accessory connector. This is just gonna be what controls them. They are controlled via basically a specific signal that this sends out through the wiring, so they turn on and off. They get their own power, but this is what controls the accessory connector and turns them on and off as needed. So let's go ahead and get these installed. All right, so it's all done. Connections are done. You guys just saw me plug everything in, posi tap everything. Now, one quick thing I do want to just kind of touch in and basically correct myself. When I said match all the colors, match every single one of the colors that are from the lighting connector or this accessory, or the control module, I should say, for the lights, to the wiring harness for the accessories. When it comes to the actual lights, you're gonna connect the black wire to the black wire on this one, on the control module for the light, not to the accessory one. And the red wire right there goes to the gray one, not to the red one or anything like that. Because then you're going to give it direct power and it will never shut off. Now, the way this is going to work, I don't know if you guys can see it here, but because it's daylight still, the light bar is on both sides. The way this light bar works, we're going to shut the doors. It is when you're walking up to the car and unlocking the car, the lights should come on, as well as when you open the door, they'll come on. When you start the car, the lights should go off. So they're staying on. You kind of see the ground is still lit. When you shut the car or the car's interior lights shut off, the lights will shut off at the bottom. I wish I give you guys a better look, but I'll open the door again here. All right, so the lights are currently on, as you can see right there. When I lock the car, the lights go off. When I unlock the car, the lights come on. Lock, lights off, unlock, the lights come on. Same way it works when you walk up to the car and you open it, or if you leave it in your garage and you don't lock it and it goes into battery save mode, the lights will shut off. So basically it doesn't drain the battery. They are only a courtesy light in a way, a illumination for entry in case you drop the keys by there. You know, you walk up to the car, you're like, oops, drop the keys on the floor, you kind of see where they're at. But when the car is running, the lights stay off. They only turn on, like right now, it went into battery save mode. The lights turned off. If I open the door, the lights come on. So again, not very hard to install, just a little tedious. Again, just like when we did the kick panels or the kick plates, same thing. Except this one has a little different control. It uses some of the same wires, the yellow and the pink, but all the other wires are different. And again, remember, one more time, when you're connecting the lights themselves, the two cables, the positive and the negative, the red and the black. The red and the black one goes to the module that came with the lights, black to black, and then the red to the gray. Not to the, don't plug it into the red one from the accessory connector, because then you're gonna have constant power. They'll never shut off. So again, and that module controls both lights because it's getting controlled through that connector. So there's no two modules, there's only one module. So now, because I'm sweating, and it's 90 degrees in the garage, or outside, and probably hotter in here, I'm going to basically finish everything up. All it is at this point is basically mounting your control module, making everything all pretty, and putting everything back together, and you're done. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera here. I'm gonna mount the control module. I'm gonna show you guys where I mounted though, once I mount it before I put the panels back on. Just so you guys get an idea of where I'm gonna be mounting this. So I'll be back in just a little bit after I get that taken care of. Okay, so we are all done with it. You guys saw where I put the control module. I kind of gave you a little glimpse of what I was doing with everything, and I kind of just tucked everything away, zip tied one or two things. Didn't go crazy with the zip ties, either this side or on the other side. On the other side, actually, I kind of just tucked the wiring in this area in here, between the carpet and the floor, just out of the way, just because lately I've been installing a lot of accessories on the car, and every time I do this, I have to go back in and remove foam tape and remove hard or zip ties, and it's just getting annoying. So until I'm finally done with this car, I will actually properly put everything back the way it is, and you know, zip tie everything and tuck everything nicely. Right now I will put the panel in. I can't leave the car like that, of course the wife will kill me, but I'm leaving the wiring kind of loose like that because, just to give you guys a quick preview, the next video coming up on this car is going to be installing a front and rear camera basically to record accidents, anything on the road, things like that. The cars, of course, have their own cameras. That's basically for safety purposes, for the car's front collision and automatic braking and stuff. But we're going to be installing the camera for safety, one in the front, one in the back, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it with basically just the wiring that's already in the car, no tapping into the fuse box whatsoever. But anyways, I'm gonna put the panels back, and then when I'm done, I'm gonna give you guys night shots of how it looks at night. All right, so that is it. That's the end of the video. The car's put back together. Of course, it's too light to see the lights and actually admire them for what they are, but I will give you guys some night shots at the end of the actual video. For now, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Peace.